Over 2,000 years ago, on the rocky hills of Athens, democracy was born. A government ruled by the people to oppose tyranny based on the virtue of equality before the law. In Athens, the democratic system was comprised of three institutions: the ecclesia, an assembly of 6,000 men that wrote laws and policy; the dikasteria, the law courts in which citizens debated cases before a lottery-selected jury; and the boule, a council of 500 representatives from the 10 Athenian tribes who are appointed to run daily affairs in the city. Since political decision-making lay directly in the hands of the populace, Athens was a direct democracy. Even though the system of government raised Athens to its golden age of economic growth, political supremacy, and cultural flourishment, it had a number of shortcomings. Direct democracy was based on the concept of majority rule, which left voters vulnerable to mob rule in which one loud voice could lead to hasty, irrational decisions. This phenomenon was further exacerbated by a lack of checks and balances, and voter ignorance due to no formal education system. An example of this flaw was when the assembly voted to execute and enslave the people of their neighboring city-state, Melos. Although they reneged on their decision the next day, it still illustrated the implicit danger of democracy. The biggest reason direct democracy is not used today, though, is because it is inefficient. It worked in Athens because the citizen population was small and homogeneous, and the slaves took care of labor, freeing the citizens to political participation. Yet even then, it was still a lengthy, time-consuming process.
Two millennia later, the political system created by the Athenians continues to form the cornerstone of civilization today. At the forefront of this is the United States of America, a country that proudly has a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unlike Athens' direct form of democracy, the US has a more representative system. Citizens elect representatives that form a governing body, and the Constitution serves as a framework that limits the power of the majority and protects individual rights. Divided into three branches of government, legislative, judicial, and executive, the US does not have the first-hand citizen participation of Athens, but its system of democracy is certainly more efficient. The exhaustive and time-consuming direct democracy that Athenians performed was one that left the delicate reins of policy to an uneducated majority. The cohesive and structured branches of the American representative democracy extinguished the threat of mindless tyranny by establishing trusted representatives. Although this process of elective leadership is highlighted by its reliability, it may at times rid itself of the loyal ethos that binds direct democracies. After all, it's not often that one has representatives that agree with one's exact opinion on topics. Instead of voting upon policies that truly reflect one's views, voters often compromise values to partisanship and give in to the pressures of party biases.
Despite its flaws, democracy is lauded as the best system of government that has existed. As Winston Churchill famously remarked, "No one pretends that democracy is perfect or all-wise. Indeed, it has been said that democracy is the worst form of government, except all those other forms that have been tried from time to time." Democracy has certainly proven successful at guaranteeing the rights and freedoms of the majority, ensuring free and fair elections, encouraging active participation in civic and political life, and creating a more peaceful world. The seeds of democracy, though, are not sown equally. Democracy may benefit the majority, but who are the forgotten minorities? Who does democracy fail? In Athens, despite creating democracy on the ideal of people power, political participation was limited to a select segment of the population. Only male citizens born to Athenian parents, a group that consisted of less than 20% of the total adult population, existed under the eyes of the law. Women, slaves, and foreign residents were indispensable to the polis, but muted from the government. This is reflected in the United States history of disenfranchisement of women and African Americans. Furthermore, even though all citizens of Athens could participate in the government, only the wealthy could afford to do so. As a direct democracy, political life took up a massive amount of time, impeding the poor from taking part. Again, this is not unlike the obstacles some Americans face today, with voting restrictions, redlining, and economic barriers.
Today's system of democracy may be an improvement of that of the Athenians, but it continues to stumble on its weaknesses. It continues to neglect a number of its constituents inflamed by social and economic inequalities. Summed up in the words of Aristotle, if liberty and equality, as is thought by some, are chiefly to be found in democracy, they will be best attained when all persons alike share in the government to the utmost.